Morning and welcome back to the TheStoneRanger. So I was swigging my tea. It's I'm having a little paint before I go and do a little bit of shopping. And I thought while I'm in the mini workshop, I'll invite you with me. See who's available on this Sunday morning. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. And just before I went live, I got a notification from the Met Office. Weather warning. Can't believe you get a weather warning for 5 centimetres of snow. It's 5 centimetres of snow. Does that warrant a weather warning? I don't think so. But it gets the kids excited. So yeah, I'm painting away. I'm putting a little coat of undercoat on this. This is a weather shield undercoat in grey. I actually quite like this grey as a top coat. I think it works really well on the right stone, especially some really light limestone. Yeah, I wanted to get it on because Wednesday night we'll be carving a memorial for Duke. So I wanted to get this done and out of the way. Make space for Duke. I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but this morning where I am, it's absolutely beautiful. Really crisp, about 0 degrees, maybe just below. The birds are really tweeting. They're on the feeder. The dog's been chasing them around the shadows. It's a beautiful morning. That's Conno's on. It's that's nice. It's Conno's moving back to my village. Looking forward to it. I hope I'll see him more. Damon's one of them lads I grew up with, spent all my childhood with, at a place in Bamford, and then you kind of just drift apart as your working life and family life. But it's always close enough that you go out for a beer once or twice a year, or you meet up for something. And he's lived all over. He's a great chef. He's done some amazing things. Through the most amazing wedding, I'll never forget that. But he's moving back to my village, my home village, where we're both from, so hopefully it means we'll be able to meet up a little bit more. Not the best angle for painting on this. I'm blocking everything I'm doing, using these really fine paintbrushes. I've bought paintbrushes from all over to paint with. I've bought paintbrushes what cost £20 each. I've bought paintbrushes what cost about 25p each. And I found the ones what are about 25p just as good because of the rough stone. Really feathers the paintbrush out, so it don't last that long. So if you're painting a sign you're going to carve yourself, don't spend big money. Tip of the day. So seeing as though Connor's, even if he's not still on, I'll tell you what I've been up to this morning. So I've been making a stew. You'll be happy with this, being a chef. Been making a stew while everyone else is in bed. I got up nice and early. I went to the market yesterday, bought some nice stewing steak. So bread. I put it all in seasoned some flour, put it all in there, and then browned it off. Deglazed my the crochet pan with a nice red wine from Chablis, I picked myself, and then just put that to one side, and then some onions and some finely diced celery. Can't have the celery showing with the kids, they'll not eat it. Some finely diced celery in there. Got that nicely going, and then got some nice beef stock. Put that in. Some carrots, some potatoes, some parsnips, but they're ready to go in later because they break down so much quicker than everything else, and then I think it can add a bit too much sweetness to it, and then that'll just sit there. So it's been simmering now for about an hour, and I've actually turned it off, so I didn't want to leave it while I was down here. And then later on I'll turn it back on, it'll have a few more hours, we'll make some dumplings and we're good to go. Hopefully he approves. Damon actually got a, so I call him Conno. Conno's the nickname we had for him growing up, Connolly. But so Damon, he's just got, did he get like a rosette, an AA rosette? Probably, I bet it's even a year ago now, that even longer, but amazing achievement. Maybe you'll see me down on the local park. Sometimes I like to go metal detecting on a Sunday morning. As I come further along this side, less of me talking about cooking stews and metal detecting and Conno's chefing accomplishments, which are amazing. I'll tell you a little bit more about this. So what I did, so I carved this. If you were with me on Wednesday night, you'll know, and a few pencil marks here and there where I marked it up, which was fine, and it cleaned up fine after I finished carving it. But what I did this morning, because it's dry, it's had a few days, it really dried. I don't like to paint the sign when it's fully dry. I like to have a little bit of moisture back in the stone. So this morning I just sprayed it with a light spray bottle, and then a really soft brush I used on top of it, like it's a brush what you polish your boots with. If you're polishing your boots up, it's just that, just to give it get all in the corners. Because when you brush it off and you clean it, you get all bits of sand in the corner and the bits of grit, really fine bits. And if you touch them with your paintbrush, don't do your paintbrush any good, your paint's going to go all funny. So I just cleaned it off with a the boot polishing brush, which is nice. Slight bit of moisture, then left it an hour just so it draws in. So it's not wet, it's just damp, and I think the paint just slides over better. It doesn't dry out as quick, so if you are pushing the paint around, it's not, the moisture's not going straight into the stone. And I think that really helps to paint it. I've done it too many times when it's been dry, or and it just gets sticky and you start getting steps in your paint. The one downside to going live on a Sunday morning, nice and early, is we're not going to get many of our American friends what normally join us. It's my world clock knowledge is not great, but if I'm right, so we've got a couple from Tennessee. I don't know, it'll be early morning, like maybe 5 o'clock in the morning maybe. bit of delicate painting right in the corner. So I've not done any painting on the side for a little bit, so it's nice to get my eye back in. Might take my hat off. I think it's putting a bit of shade on there. I don't know how many of you read that I was doing the monthly stone carving subscription. So basically, if you didn't know about it, I've just put like a thing on social media saying, oh, we could do a monthly stone carving session. It came about for two reasons, because people kept asking me if I did it, and I kept saying no, no, no. And then I thought, oh, what a great way of interacting with people one-on-one who want to pay this monthly subscription of $4.99, and also what a great way to raise a little bit of money, so we could upgrade the cameras, we could upgrade the lighting, all the little bits what you don't see, what cost loads of money, but it'd be a great way. So I released this social media post. I got a good interest, so I got 8 people who wanted to sign up straight away, starting from the 1st of February, which was more than I was hoping for. So that was really nice. And then 24 hours later, it wasn't sitting comfortable with me. I don't like the idea of charging people for stuff. I'm just self-taught at this. I don't like the idea of just charging people each month for stuff I've just learned along the way, trial and error. So I released another social media post last night saying I'm having to backtrack on it. I feel so much better about it. I just want to do it. I just want to make videos for free. And so them 8 people who were interested, sent them an apology email. Luckily they'd not paid any money out. If they had, I'd just sent them back. So now it's just going to be making videos for free. Just didn't feel right. So I hope everyone who did sign up for that understands. And also, we live in a world where £5 to some people is not a lot. £5 to other people is a hell of a lot. There's not lots of surplus cash floating around at the minute. I like to make it so everyone around the world has got the same opportunity to the channel. I don't want to price people out of it at £5. I have to stop and drink my tea in a minute. Like I say, I think it's just below freezing. And even though I've made my cup of tea in a large cup, it soon gets cold. And I'll drink cold tea. I'm not a massive fan of it. Just thinking about Conno again. I wonder when he is officially moving back. I wonder if he's having a housewarming party. That'd be nice. We'll just go to a local pub. What do we think to the grey? Oh, Bry's on. Does the sound not good? Didn't see that. Someone on from Dublin. Liz is on from Dublin. Or was on, I might have missed that now. You'll have to let me know if anybody's still on with the sound. The sound is good there. Well, that's good. I always like to bit of blue roll. So when I'm going down these edges just here, get my bit of blue roll and just pinch it. Just pinch the brush. You get to really feather out, and that really helps with getting that straight line down there. Nice and delicate down there. If you don't get these, especially on these ends where they're nice and thin on here, if you don't get them nice and straight, it can really stand out. So the better your carving is, straighter your carving is, the neater it is. And when we talk about holding the hammer and it being consistent blows with the hammer, or taps, blows is probably quite aggressive for here, with taps with the hammer, that kind of forgetting about it, and it's consistent, and the chisel is gliding along rather than digging in, getting your angles right, holding your chisel. When it comes to painting, that really helps, because it means the paintbrush also just kind of glides over the top in straight lines. You can just work your way up to the edge. So what brought me into this line of work? So dry stone walling. So I originally started dry stone walling. I was a miner, a floor spar miner. I didn't particularly enjoy that too much. I mean, I had parts of it what I really enjoyed, and then other parts of it what really weren't for me. For example, I used to walk the escape route, and it was quite often. So like every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, we'd have to walk the escape route. And quite often it'd be blocked. It didn't sit that well with me. Especially I'd just had my daughter was just born, so this was 2007. January 2007. So I was doing that in summer 2006. So the escape route wasn't great, and also we'd have to clean out the diesel filters from the fans, and you'd collect all the diesel fumes from the machinery, and they were really always very blocked up, and I didn't like the idea of breathing all that in. So I got the option to go back onto the estates team where I was working, and they offered me to go on a dry stone walling course. So I went on this dry stone walling course, and it just kind of clicked, working with the stone and the walling. I've always put it down to being dyslexic and shapes and patterns, and I just really enjoyed it. So I did level 1, I did level 2. It's really quickly, got them out of the way, and then decided I was going to go and work for myself. My dad always worked for himself. When I was really young, he had a gardening business called Countryside Maintenance. I just quite like the idea of that. So I went off and did that, and then I was walling, and then one day I was building a dry stone wall. And like you'll all know who build dry stone walls, you don't get paid until the copers are on top. And this family said to me, is there any chance we could just stop because we want to put a house sign in there? And I asked them if they'd got any house somebody to carve the house sign. He said no, so I could tell it was going to be a fair delay. So I just put my hand up and said I'll carve it. Never really carved much before. A little bit in wood. My dad used to carve a little bit in wood as a kid, not too much. So I went away, I got a piece of stone from the quarry, I got it cut, and then actually got a pair of wood chisels, started hacking away at this piece of stone. And somehow it turned out okay. I took it to the family and said, look, if you like it, let's carry on, put it in. If you don't like it, get the mason you was originally going to get to do it, or find a mason. And he loved it. It's still in there now. I drive past it quite regular. And then the next door neighbour asked for one. And then the local driving instructor passed away. And the family said, could you carve a memorial for him? And it just kind of spiralled. And then before I knew it, I was carving more and more and more for lots of different things for people all over. Then I started doing it as full time. And I opened up a shop and did that for 7 years. We were on Greenstone and Hyde for 7 years. There was a few of us worked there. We were shipping stuff all around the world, a hell of a lot to Texas, Australia, Greece, Senegal, Ukraine, all over America, loads in this country, lots to Ireland. And then it kind of naturally came to an end. I think COVID brought it naturally to an end because it was so busy at COVID. We worked so hard because everyone was in the garden and everyone wanted a water feature what we were making, or a bird bath, and it was just ridiculous. It was something you kind of dreamed of where you wanted it to be, but then also at the same time you didn't want the stress that brought with it. And it was a bit of an eye-opener for me, thinking I really enjoy this carving as a hobby, but if I keep going on at the pace I'm going, I'm going to fall out of love with this. So I was working a lot. I wasn't seeing my family. I was getting a little bit tired all the time. So when I was around, I could get a little bit grumpy, a bit snappy after work, just because there was so much pressure on me. And then I just made the decision one morning. I just said, I'm going to do something new, and I'm going to become a Peak Park Ranger. A few people kind of said to me, you can't just go and be a Peak Park Ranger, you just don't go and do it. And I set it as a goal to do in the July of that year. Gave myself 5 years to retrain and do something new, and I got offered the job on the 24th of December that same year. So it took less than 6 months, and now I get to enjoy doing this as a hobby again, rather than having the pressure of running it as a business, and wages and bills and all that stuff what goes with it, what you don't particularly enjoy, all the behind the scenes stuff. So I'd go in the morning to work and I'd have all the products we'd made the day before, 2 days before. I'd have to wrap them all and get them all ready for posting before the delivery guys came from DPD or Trans Global Express or TNT. They'd pick them all up and then I'd start again for the next day. So I'd just be working away until 10 o'clock at night just to do it all again the next day, and there isn't a lot of enjoyment in that in the end. So I changed it. So it was kind of got into the stone carving through dry stone walling, and just as a hobby, and then we run a business in between, and now I'm back as a hobbyist, which is the best place to be. What do we think to the grey? Can we? I'm moving the sign along as I'm painting to make it easier for me, but I think as it dries slightly lighter. And it can look really nice. But she's, I don't think she wants grey on this. I'll show it to her. And if she does, I'll put another coat on top before we seal it. So some people, when they're painting the sign, they'll carve it and then they'll brush the paint on and then they'll polish it off. And I've done this, but I find the problem with this is if you don't get your polishing technique just perfect, you can end up taking some of the corners. This font wouldn't be so bad. You can end up taking some of the corners, the flicks off, and then it really distorts your carving. So you spend all that time carving lovely. If you get your polishing just wrong, it can ruin it. I can understand it's quicker, but we don't have that problem anymore. Like we were just explaining, it's not for a business. It's not a money making thing. It's a hobby. Do you run a stone carving business, Liz? The way you say that on there about releasing the stress of the business side, I was wondering if you did the same thing. Or any business. I'm not saying I'll never run a business again. Would I be more selective of how I did it? Quite like the idea of something a little bit more simple. I like the idea of maybe a little Airbnb with my wife. Like I've said to you before, we're moving house, and if we can find somewhere with a bit of space, we can do an Airbnb as well. That'd be lovely. Got a good family friend. To be honest with you, she's classed as family. She's called Leslie. She's my wife's dad's ex-wife. So she's not family, but she is family. And she's over in County Clare, and it'd be lovely to have that little bit of extra space. So Leslie can come over and stay, whether that's short or long term. But just to be able to have that option. And if she doesn't want to stay long term, we'll do it as an Airbnb. But it'd be nice to see Leslie. I've not seen Leslie for 2.5 years. Actually, when I was over in Ireland with Rue to see Leslie last, when we were doing some work at her dad's house, we stayed in an Airbnb, and it was really quirky little spot, and I really enjoyed it. Went and did some fishing locally, Loch Grainy, but that smell of peat, just love the smell of peat on the fire. Clean this brush. Oh, so you retired. So, oh yeah, so you'll understand what I mean when you say it's hard work running a business if you and your husband did that. I want to know if you oh, so you've got a cousin in Manchester. Let me stop and read you. A cousin in Manchester is running an Airbnb and it's going really well. Well, that's nice. So Manchester is about, so you can get into Manchester on the train from where I live in 40 minutes. If you were driving to Manchester, depends whereabouts, it'd probably take you about an hour, just under an hour. And County Clare is beautiful. County Clare is so beautiful. Where he lived was unbelievable. If we could have bought that house here, or we didn't have the commitments in this country and gone there, I'd have happily gone there. So it was the most amazing, beautiful property. It's actually been sold now to the National Leprechaun Museum. It's had an old settlement on its land. It had a nice stream running through it. There were deer on there. It came with a job with the trees, what the Irish government were like a planting scheme, managing the trees. Really nice old farmhouse with lots of land and lots of outbuildings. And lots of stonework what needed sorting out. That would have been nice. And the most awful septic tank you've ever seen. Let's have a look at that above about the sound. Alright, well, I was wondering if you could hear the birds in the background. There's lots out. I filled the feeders up this morning when I was out with the dog and having a cup of coffee. We've got a squirrel. I probably shouldn't encourage him, but I do like to fill them up so they're all happy and the squirrel's happy. And also on top of this little workshop, sometimes you can hear them running around. So there's a feeder hanging in the tree, and when they drop little bits, you might hear them every now and again scurrying around on the roof. I should have bought something saying there's fields of stone, County Clare. Should have bought some stone back with me. That would have been nice. I did bring all sorts back with me. I took my van because we were emptying the house, and I did bring quite a lot of stuff back with me. Bought the most amazing chopping board and then refurbed it for my wife. And the track going up to the property was so rough that it didn't do the bottom of my van any good. And when I got back to Dublin to get the ferry back, a big plastic plate fell off the bottom of the van, so I had to park at the side of the road and mend it in Dublin, and the traffic warden wasn't best happy with me. Tried to make me buy a parking ticket to mend it. My wife was embarrassed and left me to it and went to the Insomnia coffee shop. We went up to Galway while we were there. My sister used to live in Galway, so went to see one of her friends, say hello to one of her friends in the shop. Whereabouts are you? If you've got a foot of snow, whereabouts are you? I don't know if you've put on there on the comments where you are. That is a lot of snow, a foot. Just going to try that backlight. It makes the paint stand out a little bit better. Yeah, I love hearing the birds. It's John does saying that it's great to hear the birds. I love that feeling when you wake up, you know, especially in spring, and the birds are up nice and early. There's a little bit of warmth in the air. There's new life everywhere. That's my favourite. I like all seasons, but especially spring, and also fishing season starts around then. So I go fishing on a Thursday evening. I think I've said on here before, I'm a fair weather fisherman. Oh, that'd be interesting to know how that carving set gets on the beach stones. Sometimes I find them quite tough, like beach pebbles. But that little carving kit, it's actually one of them here. I've had quite a few messages from people who have bought them. One guy who actually came on a carving course with me. What? I think I put a picture on it last. Well, it was the 30th of December, so not long ago, and he bought a kit as well from watching the videos. For the money, they are really, really good. We should contact the company what I bought it from on eBay. Tell them, ask them if their sales have gone up from that video. It's definitely a great little kit. My first carving kit, apart from the wood chisels we spoke about earlier, cost me £120. That'll be some time ago now, what, 8-9 years ago. £120. I still use the same hammer. I've got all the same chisels apart from one. I don't have the 4mm chisel anymore. That went a while ago. I used to buy a lot of them at one point. Well, that was a great kit, but obviously the difference in was £100 difference. I mean, you weren't even paying £20 for the kit we're talking about. What Liz has bought, and Paul and a couple of others sent some messages in about that kit. I think it was £13 delivered. My memory's right on there. So £120 is a big difference. Swing a bit in. Oh, John's in Canada. I was wondering where this foot of snow was. I won't mind a foot of snow. I've got the day off tomorrow, so it'd be nice to sit and watch the snowfall. Yes, the beach stones are really, really difficult. Carving pebbles is not the easiest thing in the world, especially with them chisels. I would try a different stone if you're struggling there. I do like, there's something really nice about a beach pebble. I used to make a bird bath called a pebble bowl, and it was just that feel, that roundness, the way it looked, like slightly egg shape, misshapen, and just that texture, everything about it was just really nice. We hollowed it out, so it was either used as a bowl in the house, or you could use it, you could have it sealed and you could use it in the garden. But I do find actual beach pebbles really tough to carve. My wife went through a stage of using a bit of a Dremel to make some decorations, which worked quite well, but with a chisel, really difficult. So I would possibly move on to a little bit of sandstone, or some slate, or maybe some nice limestone. I once carved a house sign for a couple on a piece of slate what come from the Isle of Mull, and the metal content in it was so high the chisel would just ping off in places, and you really had to work at it. It was a real effort to get this house sign done, and it looked great. They'd found that washed up on the beach, and when we were done it really did look great. I really liked it. It just had a different feel, this slate, to the rest of the slate, and you could see these bits of metal do it. They weren't even small bits. You've got these small bits of galena here shining away. I don't know if it comes through on the camera, but there's bits here, but in the slate they were big chunks. So I don't know if you've noticed in the comments, Liz, or if you join us on a Wednesday evening, but some people send some pictures of what they're working on. Well, very simple. I'll just log in on my phone and have a look and hold the picture up to the screen if everyone's allowed to have a look, if you agree with it. But if you wanted to send it in, you can have a look at what you're working on. That'd be nice. I've got a couple more to show you this Wednesday. People have been sending in. Not sure if Bry's still on, but if he is, I'm surprised he's not sent a picture of a mushroom. The mushroom man. Did you hear that? Just the birds are on the roof. See if John can hear the birds in Derbyshire running across the workshop roof while he's looking out the window at a foot of snow in Canada. It's been nice to have a couple of people on this morning. I wasn't planning on doing a live, but I thought while I'm down here, not everyone's always available on a Wednesday evening. And the lives are very new to me, so if you ever watched any of my really early videos, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot along the way. So doing these lives is like starting again. And I like the challenge of learning new. I'll make mistakes. They'll be embarrassing at times. And I'll say silly things. But it's all learning. Stepping outside the comfort zone. I've got a couple of my standard videos coming up soon. The ones where I film them and piece them together and edit them all up. A bit of background music, which is nice. But I'm just holding off because, like I've said before, I've got a local chap making me a logo. The TheStoneRanger is officially having its own logo. So he sent me some drawings. Well, he sent me 4 drawings, and then which were really good. And then now he's going to digitalise them. And then once he's done that, and we agreed to which one, I'll put it out there for you all to see. And then we're going to have the intro to the new videos done by the same guy. he's only a young lad, local, so it's nice to support him and his new venture. So I don't want to make my new videos just yet until I've got the new bits. I'm trying to be patient. I'd be intrigued to know if any of you guys paint any of your signs or any of your carvings after you've carved them up. Do you do it this way with the paintbrush, or do you paint everything and then polish it down like you've seen on my videos with a piece of slate? Here we've got someone up from New York. That's nice. We were discussing earlier at what time it'll be in America. We were talking about Tennessee, but I wonder what time it is in New York. It's got to be early. Yeah, I'd be intrigued to know the way you all paint your signs. There is one other way. So you've got this way with your paintbrush and paint it all in by hand. Then you've got the way which I do with slate, where I paint it all and then rub it down with wet and dry. Don't like to use a polishing machine anymore. I think it can be too aggressive, so I like to wet and dry it off, which I think gives a lovely finish to your slate as well if you plan it all out nicely. And then there's another way which I've seen, and I think this really works better with marble and granite, is if you get a roller and you get molasses, and you molasses onto the stone just on top. It doesn't go into the lettering. Then you paint over the molasses. The paint then goes into the carving, and then you let it dry, give it a couple of coats, let it dry, and then you wipe the molasses off and the excess paint with a warm soapy sponge. It gives you a nice neat finish. I tried it once and it wasn't bad. I think with practice you'd get there. It wasn't perfect. But I like painting it by hand. I've always tried to paint it by hand. I can understand time wise, like we was talking earlier with Liz about it being a business and your time and pressure. You can't always do it. But we don't have that anymore. And the new job, what I left to go and do, working for the Peak Park. So my actual official title is the Volunteering Community Ranger. So I help with who's become a friend of mine since working with him, Rob. Help run one of the biggest volunteer programs in the country. So we have, at last count, it was 811 volunteers on the books we look after, plus probation and school groups and corporate groups that come out of us, BMW and Ineos. Who else do we have there? We have RAB, Clothing Company, Barclaycard, VW. And we have all these different people come out with us, which is great. And it's really rewarding. We do some amazing stuff, teach some people some amazing skills. Some of the probation lads we've taught to be dry stone wallers. And we've got some funding, we got them through their level 1 and level 2 dry stone walling, and a couple of them out now field walling. Paying back into society, paying their taxes. They've made mistakes, they've openly admitted them, they've done their time, and now they're paying back, which is great. I did ask them actually how they feel about me coming and doing a little video with them walling this summer. Maybe I could introduce you to a couple of them. Yeah, I really enjoy the new job. and I still get plenty of stonework. So I'm carving with the TheStoneRanger on YouTube, and do a little bit for work. Every now and again we'll do a day carving and do lots of dry stone walling. I'm not sure if Brian's still on, but what if he got his sound sorted? Just looking back through the comments there, and I'm a little bit jealous that John's got a foot of snow. Yeah, I bet they don't. I bet in Canada they don't get a weather warning for 5 centimetres. Alexa was shouting this morning, it was beeping and pinging and bonging. Weather warning. Met Office release weather warning. 5 centimetres of snow. 5 centimetres of snow. When I was a kid at school, if the bus driver, if we thought we were getting a day off of school for 5 centimetres of snow, the bus driver would have just pulled up, laughed at us and said, get on. I do worry the schools now. I think it's the media builds the weather up with the snow and the floods and bits, that they're kind of forced to make a decision beforehand. I think they've got pressure on from the parents that they have to make a decision to shut the schools and the colleges in case anything happens when they're on the way. Are they then liable? They seem to make these decisions so early now. Even if the temperature just gets too cold, they just say it's too cold for the kids. We're shutting the college. John's saying no, you wouldn't. Not if you had to shovel all the snow by hand. If I wouldn't be jealous. Well, no, that is a good point. That is a good point. I did have a ride on mower until recently for the field we rented next to the house, which has just been sold for allotment. But I'd be tempted. It was a nice big Honda, good old chunky tyres on it. That would have made a great snowplow. I'd have been tempted to fabricate some kind of snowplow on the front of that to push it around there. Oh, Santa don't like snow. It's so far they've had none. Well, we've had none. Well, we had a sprinkling, which was kind of like if you'd gone outside with you were putting a dusting on a cake. It was that's all we've had so far. Might post a picture. That reminds me, I once built an igloo. It's a bit like the walling. I'd made these blocks, individually packed snow into stone blocks, as if you'd say so. I used like a Tupperware tub, and then built this igloo. I'll try and find a picture and post it on there for you on the YouTube page so you can see it. The kids absolutely loved it, and at the time my dry stone walling van was in the background, and I tried to send it to my local news outlet so they could run a picture of it, hoping to get a bit of free advertisement, but they weren't falling for it. I didn't get that. They wouldn't even show it, which is a shame. Oh, from Spain. No, you're definitely not used to snow. I went to Barcelona many years ago, and it had actually snowed. Not long before I'd been there, and all the locals were talking about it. It was I went to watch the Formula One, and I stayed in a place called Malgrat de Mar. I think it was probably on the train line. It was probably 30 minutes outside Barcelona, and it had snowed. Not while I was there. Not like I say, not long before I'd gone. It was a bit of the big deal that they'd had this snow. Oh, the ice. I wonder if that's the ice hotel. I've seen that on telly. It looks quite impressive. Not sure if it's for me, the ice hotel. I wonder if I'd feel a little bit claustrophobic with it all. Oh, well, thanks for watching, Liz. And to be honest with you, I'm going to be going in a minute. I've got the undercoat nearly all done, and it's I've got other projects to do today. I'm actually going to the aquatic shop, and it's my daughter's birthday on Thursday, so I'm going to get some bits from the supermarket because she's requested a Battenberg cake, so I've got to bake a Battenberg cake midweek. So I'm going to go and buy some bits, but so I'm nearly there anyway. That's a coat of undercoat on. Just wants a little bit of touching up here and there. Yeah, I'll put the top coat on, and then I'll post a picture on YouTube. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. It's done. I'll leave that now. I was tempted to pick the dust brush up then and give it a bit of a dust. That would be a faux pas. It'd be everywhere. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Oh, I will pass on the happy birthday. She's going to be 17. So I asked her if she wanted driving lessons. I thought she might like driving lessons for her birthday. I'll just move that around so you can see me actually, as soon as I finish carving. Yeah, hopefully you can see me better. Yeah, so I asked her if she wanted driving lessons for her birthday, and she quickly told me that I'm forcing her to grow up too much. She doesn't need to drive, so I've scrapped the driving lessons. And she's planning on going to university in London to study classics. And she said, you don't want a car in London, it costs too much. Everything's public transport, and she'll be there for 4 years, she says. So she don't want to drive, and she said it's bad for the environment. So, which is a fair approach to it all. So no driving lessons, which means I've got to rethink what I'm going to buy her for her 17th birthday. So I lots of books. She loves books. So yeah, thank you all for watching. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.